Imagine this. The President of the United States just threatened to unleash the military on one of America's biggest cities, his own backyard. "We're going in," Trump declared, eyes locked on Chicago. Is this a bold rescue mission or a dangerous power grab that could tear the nation apart? Stick around, because what happens next might redefine law and order in America forever. Welcome back to Libo News, where we dive deep into the stories shaping our world. Today, we're unpacking President Trump's explosive announcement that he's gearing up to send National Guard troops into Chicago and possibly Baltimore to tackle surging crime. But is this a genuine crackdown on violence or a political chess move in a divided nation? We'll break it down step by step, examining the facts, the pushback, and the hidden layers beneath the headlines. Let's get into it. First off, the bombshell dropped during an Oval Office event on Tuesday. When a reporter pressed Trump on whether he'd deploy the Guard to Chicago, his response was direct and unyielding. "We're going in." I didn't say when. We're going in. He didn't specify if it'd be Guard troops or federal agents, nor how many or from where, but he made it clear he's not waiting for an invitation. Trump even hinted at Baltimore facing a similar fate, expanding his vow to intervene in cities he claims have lost control of violent crime. This isn't Trump's first rodeo. For weeks, he's been railing against Chicago and Baltimore, calling them failures in containing bloodshed. Remember, this comes on the heels of deployments in Washington, D.C., where thousands of Guard troops and federal agents hit the streets last month as part of an anti-crime surge. And in June, Guard forces were sent to Los Angeles to shield immigration agents. Trump praised the DC effort, boasting it wiped out crime there and predicted the same for Chicago. Within a week, we will have no crime in Chicago, just like we have no crime in DC. But here's where it gets juicy. Trump openly hoped Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, a fierce critic, would pick up the phone and beg for help. "We're gonna do it anyway," Trump insisted. "We have the right to do it because I have an obligation to protect this country." Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth backed him up on Fox, Friends Wednesday, urging Pritzker to welcome the support. Hegseth, a Guard veteran himself, emphasized that the military stands ready to secure American cities where Americans deserve to live safely. Now, flip the script to the local side. Governor Pritzker didn't mince words in his Tuesday press conference, slamming Trump's comments as unhinged. He flat out refused to call for troops, warning that federal agents from ICE and other agencies might flood Chicago soon anyway, giving Trump an excuse to escalate to military boots on the ground. Pritzker's team is prepped to battle this in court, arguing there's no emergency justifying such a move. He pointed to Chicago's stats. Homicides, shootings, and violent crimes are down recently. "One violent crime is too many," he admitted, "and we have more work to do. But we've made important progress on safety that Trump is now jeopardizing." Trump, meanwhile, has labeled Chicago a mess under an incompetent mayor, vowing to straighten it out next after D.C. He paints a picture of cities spiraling out of control, Chicago with its high murder rate, Los Angeles equally bad. But Pritzker calls these claims absurd, highlighting data showing crime declines in places like D.C. despite Trump's interventions. So, why is this happening now? Let's dig deeper into the motivations. On one hand, Trump frames it as a duty to restore safety in Democrat-led cities he accuses of soft-on-crime policies. Supporters see it as decisive leadership stepping in, where locals have failed, especially in election seasons when law and order resonates with voters. Crime stats do show Chicago struggling with gun violence. It's had over 400 homicides this year alone, far above national averages. Trump argues federal muscle could turn the tide, much like he claims it did in D.C., where deployments coincided with reported drops in certain crimes. But critics argue there's more at play. This could be a strategic jab at blue cities and states, escalating tensions in a polarized America. Pritzker and others view it as an overreach, potentially violating the Posse Comitatus Act, a 19th century law barring the military from domestic law enforcement without congressional approval. Remember the California precedent? Trump federalized their Guard without Governor Newsom's okay, citing a rebellion law. Newsom sued, and while an appeals court leaned toward Trump, a lower court just ruled it illegal. Any Chicago deployment could spark similar lawsuits, testing the limits of presidential power versus states' rights. Think about it. The National Guard in most states answers to governors, not the White House. Trump bypassed that in California, but it set off a legal firestorm. In Chicago, if he pulls the same trigger, it might unite opponents who see this as authoritarian creep, using the military for policing, which blurs lines between federal authority and local control. Proponents counter that in extreme cases, like unchecked violence, the president must act to uphold federal laws and protect citizens. Broader context adds layers. Trump's focus on major cities aligns with his narrative of reclaiming America from chaos. But data tells a nuanced story. While Chicago's violence is real, overall US, Crime rates have trended down since the 1990s, with spikes tied to factors like poverty, guns, and post-pandemic fallout. Interventions like DC's have mixed results. Some credit federal help for short-term dips. Others say it's window dressing that ignores root causes like economic inequality and police reform. What's the ripple effect? If troops hit Chicago, it could inspire copycat moves in other cities, reshaping urban policing. But it risks backlash, protests, court battles, even eroded trust in institutions. Baltimore's on the radar too, with Trump hinting at intervention there. Local leaders argue this diverts from collaborative solutions, like federal funding for community programs, which have shown promise in reducing crime without militarization. As we wrap this up, the standoff raises profound questions. When does federal intervention cross into overreach? Is Trump's push a lifeline for struggling cities or a ploy to score political points? Both sides have valid points. Safety is non-negotiable, but so is preserving democratic checks and balances. We'll be watching closely as this unfolds. What do you think? Necessary action or dangerous precedent? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and hit that subscribe button for more in-depth breakdowns on Libo News. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay engaged.